screen. Oh, yeah, you can see. I do not know what's going on. It's so weird. Okay. First of all, we have quite a bit to do today, but don't hesitate to stop me. We can finish this lab quickly as well. But you know, if you have any questions, you can ask me at any time, and I'll explain. We've done if and else if statement the last week. Do while, for, and switch. Speaking of which, I talked to you guys started in for, right? Did you guys already start on
Yeah.
for?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you a lot more practical. It's the easiest of all the loops, my favorite actually. So you guys will see. We have it says we have 4 experiments here, but we only have 2. It's just this one, and the rest are kind of just small. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're gonna do today. It's very short lab. My connection, I do not know what's going on. Okay.
Sorry, sir, where can we find the PDF?
Oh yes, you want to find the lab. I've posted it on the file section of the Teams. Where is that? Hold on, let me show you. If you can see my screen, all you have to do is go to the Teams. All right, go to the general, and it should be up here in files. Left. You can upload the new one. Yeah, I'm gonna upload the new ones every week. Is that okay?
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, good. All right, so let's start with the experiment. This is kind of okay. I was just messing around. You know what? I'll open a new source file. There we go. Okay. By the way, can you guys see this, or do I zoom in a bit more? Is this clear? Because it's the first time I use split screens. Is this also clear for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So the first thing you're going to notice in today's experiment is this new header right here, include conio.h, C-O-N-I-N-I-O. I mean, I just memorized it like that. But the full form of conio.h is basically console input output. And what it does is it helps you, well, exactly what it says, it helps you with the input and output in any dev C program, any program you're writing. Usually we use it to get when we're working with characters. So see here today we're working with the character type and we're using stuff like this function right here, which I would explain. So for that, you need to include conio.h. So anytime you work with a character, you want to use include conio.h. All right, so first the standard cdio.h. We also have oh, yeah, have to add include as well. Of course, we do the same as usual. We open our int main file, the main part of our program, and we can start coding. All right, so a quick explanation of what this code is. What this code wants us to do is it wants us to enter a character, any character between A and B. All right, so it wants us to enter a character, and it's going to count how many times we entered A, B, C, D, and E. It's going to count that. Okay, so to do this, we introduce what is called a loop, and the first loop we're going to use is the while loop. Actually, before we continue, there was one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning. If you press 2 slashes, in Dev C++ or just in any C program, and you get comments. Now, comments have nothing to do with the code. You can basically write this anyhow you like. And this is a very good practice because it makes your program easier to understand and it looks good. And most importantly, your papers, for example, if I see comments, you know, personal comments from you guys, I know obviously you didn't send your code to someone else. So if I see a lot of comments in your code, I'll just read the comments and it's much easier for me to grade you and not have to worry about if you copied from someone else. So it's a good habit, and also make sure you just add comments here and there. You can even add a comment and just put your name or explain what's happening in your program. So it's a good habit. But anyway, yeah, back to the program. So like I said, it's going to count how many A's, how many times you press A, B, C, and D and all of that. Okay, so before we start telling it to count and all of that, we need to make sure we have how much we're counting. All right, so we want to store how many A's is entered, and obviously it's going to be integers. So we can just say int, I don't know, A's. Can I do this? Int A's, for example, right? And then we can have B's. No, I don't know. This doesn't look good. Int A's. Okay, so A can use just underscore A's, and then B's, the amount of B's, and same thing for C's, D's, blah, blah, blah. No need to do everything else. All right, so now we have, okay, this is a bit clumped up, so I think it's better. So this is where we're going to store all our files. Okay, so basically it's the same thing as this, int number of A's. Actually, it's a good habit to initialize them to 0. If you're using them as a counter, you want to initialize them into 0 in case somewhere in your code or maybe in the data there was some pre-existing files there. So if you're using it as a counter, if for example it was originally 1, it would start counting from 1, which we don't want to happen. So you always make sure you initialize 0 in your code. That's very crucial. Okay, now we want somewhere to store our character. The character we're going to enter. So we want basically, instead of an integer now, since we're storing a character type, it's the definition is char, and you can say temp. Let's call it temp. Temp for temporary, okay? Because we're temporarily going to store the character in there, and we're going to count. All right. That to 0. Actually, you can't. It's a character type. Okay. So now, before we go further, let me just explain to you how the while how basically the while expression works just like ifs, and it's basically the same way you say. So you just say while temp is not equal to Q in the program, you just say while temperature, temporary, not temperature, sorry, while temp is not equal to that, do whatever you want. Okay, and it's just going to do that. And that also includes this do while statement. I was talking to one yesterday and they said he didn't explain do while. Is that right? Or did he explain that in the class? Do while.
No, we need
Okay.
to see.
Okay.
Yes, student.
All right. So, okay, hold on. It's kind of, is my internet? Okay, good. So do while, the reason why I didn't explain it, do while is actually redundant. When I say redundant, I mean you technically don't have to put do. It's just an I think the person who created this program was like, there's if and else, so there'll be do and while. I don't know. Basically, how do while works is instead of just directly saying while temperature is, I'm sorry, while temporary is not equal to Q, blah, 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 what you say is do whatever you want it to do, aka print f, print f,
Enter the character you want.
make it any, it doesn't matter, it's just an example. Enter a character, for example. If you do this, I'm just trying to show you guys the difference between, you can make it do while this, okay? And what this is basically gonna do is, while temperature is not equal to Q, it's gonna do whatever is in this. So for now, I think what's gonna happen is actually gonna be a huge infinite loop because we have nothing to control it. Yeah, it's not even gonna let us actually. Yeah, we didn't actually declare what is. Wait, what? No. Yes, it's not gonna do that because there's no definition for the scope of temperature. I have something here. Where is it? Do, okay. This simple program, what it's gonna do is just do. It's gonna print enter the first course grade taken. You can ignore this. Okay. Yeah, I think you can just ignore that. So it's gonna print enter the first course grade and do whatever is in this while loop in this between these braces while this is evaluated. So it's gonna do that. And once that is not satisfied, it's gonna stop. Now you can do the exact same thing with just while. You can just say while this, remove the do, and just say no. Just say print f enter a character, for example, and it will do the exact same thing. This because while temp is not in, let's change it for now. While temp is not equal to 0. Just do this, temp minus minus. I'll explain all of this later. But for now, I just want to show you that it's also going to do the exact same thing. That's why we don't actually use do while. We just directly use while because it's the same thing. You're going to have to actually initialize this. Oh, forgot return 0.
Semicolon after printer.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, see, it's just gonna do everything in the while anyway. So basically, make it a habit of just using while expressions. It's much easier. It's just you say while whatever you want to do, and then you just so while anything you want. All right. So for this, the experiment rather, where is it? Yes. They say while the entered character is not equal to Q, it's gonna keep doing whatever is in the loop. Okay. So
there is a difference between while loop and do while.
Like there's really no difference. It's the exact same thing.
No, I think the difference between while and do, that in do while,
You do
the loop does the function one more time. So if your condition,
yes,
it will be one more time.
Well, the thing is with a while loop, you can do the exact same thing as well. Like you can make it go one more time than you expect it to. For example, see here, we said we made the temporary value 10, right? And we say temp is equal, while temp is not equal to 0. Okay, so we basically want it to go 10 times, right? And we come down here and we just say temperature, temporary is equal to temp minus 1. So what it's gonna do, the first it's gonna check is 10 equal to 0. No, it's gonna print the character. It's -1, then it's gonna print the character. -1, print the character, and like that it should print it. Sorry, I keep forgetting the semicolon. Okay, so like that, it's gonna print it at 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8 times. Okay. But if you wanted to make it go 1 more time or 10 more times or however more times you wanted it, you can just increase the value from here. So instead of making do, you know, and all of that stuff, it's just much easier because you can precisely control how much you want it to loop back. Do you understand?
Yes, I saw like
Mm-hmm.
if you have a car and it works with the code. So if you use while, like do the car moves while the light signal is green,
Okay.
and the other is while the signal is green.
Is green do this? Do
for,
this.
For if you use do, it
Mm-hmm.
will stop after the if the right
When it's green.
the light is green, the light is red, it will cut the light, then it will stop.
Yeah. It depends on the order in which you put it actually, but it's the same thing. If you just put do while or while do, it's the same thing. It's actually the same thing. What changes how many times it loops is your intervals. It's I mean, logically, it's opposite. It's kind of like, but it doesn't make it loop 1 more time. So what makes it loop is this value right here. Once temperature is not temperature, once temporary for the 50th time is not equal, once it's equal to 0, it's just gonna stop. The same thing happens if you have all of this, okay? If you have all of this inside the while, once temporary is equal to 0, it's gonna stop. So for example, I just made all of this do, I didn't change any of this and this either. And if we compile and we run it, we're also going to get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 again. So it's the same thing, actually. There's no difference between do while and just while. Okay. What's important is the intervals. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Sir, I just sent something to the chat. Could you check if it's right or wrong? Just quickly. It's not complete, it's just the beginning.
Yes, it was 0, yes, okay, encounter is equal to 0. Entered character.
I want to make something, like if I write, for example, A, and then it adds like 1
We're
to
gonna
A,
get there.
and then at the end, is
Yeah,
this right?
Not exactly. I'll show you the difference between scan and there's a new function we have to use today called get character. You have to use this instead of scan. Let me explain, or actually just show you the difference, because this is the lab anyway. Okay, so like your friend said, we're going back now. Too much on whiles and do whiles. Okay, so temp, don't need that. Don't need this. And our condition was Q, right? Yes, to quit. Q to quit the loop. Note that if you're going to do a character, you need to do it like this. So while this is, while it's not equal to Q, it's going to keep asking for a character. All right. So we're only going to type in one character. Unlike before. Hello? Yes?
You lagged. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, did I?
Jammed up. Yeah, jammed up.
Oh, sorry about that. Ugh. But I'm basically saying that unlike before, when you want, this time we're getting a character, not an integer, right? So we can't just use scanf like before. Okay, so actually you can use scanf, but there's a difference between using scanf and there's a reason we use this value right here. So say you wanted to get a character from the screen, right? Okay, so printf, enter a character, and then you use scanf. You say scanf, enter scanf. Okay, the ID for a character is C. Okay, so person C, and then you do address. Oh, that's $sign. Address of temp, right? You store it in temp. So technically, what this should do is, as long as we click, we keep making the character something that's not Q, it would keep asking us, right? So it says no, does that twice. Why? Anyway, I don't know why it keeps doing that twice, but see, it will just keep asking us to enter a character. Instead of entering a character, you can type in a whole string and it won't stop you. See? It starts giving you errors because you're typing more than one character. Which is why we don't use scan if we're trying to get a single character. What do we use? We use getche. Okay, how do we use that? Which is why we included this header, by the way. We say temp, which is where we want to store the character, is equal to get character, and just this, and that's it. Now, what would happen if I run this? Some of the, you know what? Let me put \n in here so it looks better. Okay. So as soon as I enter one character, it won't let me type as many characters as one. See, it would just stop me instantly after one character, so we don't get that error of multiple loops.
Okay. If you want to use a string, for example, like a string.
If you want to get a string, I think that's different and we'll cover that in the future, but I think you just do %s. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Hold on. I think it was %s.
Yes, string is %s.
Yeah. So if you wanted to get a string, you would have to use %s, but we're not trying to get a string, we're trying to get a character. Later on in future labs, we'll work with strings and all that stuff. So for now, you're just working with one character, every single loop. Okay, so we got the character and everything like that. The rest is easy because all we have to do is if the temp, which is our character, is equal to A, no, that's the wrong. If it's A, then we just, how do you, yes, which is our counter, it's 0, you just increase that by 1. So you just say A underscore S equal to, let me space this out a little bit more, A underscore S plus 1. Okay. Easy. That way, it would basically increase the amount of A's we have. And you can do the same, another if for B, another if for C, which is exactly what they did here. So if the entered character is equal to A, or in C++, why you need that, it's too horizontal, like this, I think. Anyway, it's two horizontal lines, and why you need this is, for this if, so if it has A, or it has A, the capital A, because the computer sees these as two different things. So you need to make sure that it counts towards the number of A's. Okay. So, but for here, I mean, we can add it just to show you. You make it. You open a bracket again. Temp equals Did I close this? No, I didn't. Okay. This is fine. This needs another bracket. So if temp equals A, or if it's equals capital A, it would increase the number of A's. So if we just want to test this out, I like visualizing what I'm doing. That way it makes it a lot easier for you guys to understand. But you can just print F %CA, all right? So %C max-n to make it look better, and just A, get out of there. Hopefully no mistakes. Oh, there is no such thing as A, there's A underscore S, A's. Very important. All right. So, what is these? Is that an emoji? Sorry, what?
Is an integer, not a character.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I was going really fast. I got emojis there. I don't even know what that was, to be honest. So how many A's we have, see? By the way, it's not printing that A. The first A you're seeing, that's me typing that in. So to separate that, I'm gonna do this. All right. So it prints how many A's now. See, it keeps counting. But if I type something else, it can't count that. But it can count how many A's I have. And that's just because of this if right here. All right, so you get the idea. Before, so I'm not gonna repeat this. Then after you're done with all of that, you just there are this amount of A's, this amount of B's, this amount of C's, and instead of printing it one by one like we did, add them all up together and then print them at the end. So so far, does anyone have any questions with while, get, chair, all of that? Any questions so far?
I do.
Yeah.
The code I sent you, right? I did put the while counter is less than or equal to 10.
10.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I compile it, it does like way more. It does infinity. It doesn't like stop at 10. And I added counter plus plus. I think maybe it's the return 0 I didn't add. Maybe that's the problem.
You added counter plus plus. Okay, so that should have fixed it because counter would keep increasing.
Yeah. Maybe it's the return 0 or something. I don't know.
No.
It's not doing it.
Let me take this.
Wait, I think it's because I'm writing stuff that's not A. Yeah, because I'm writing stuff that's not A.
All right. Diverging.
Where? But where should I put my what do you call it? Where should I put my counter plus plus?
You wanna count at the while loop, not at the beginning. Put it at the end.
Like
Okay,
after
so
I
like
do for A,
before
B,
you.
C, D, E, for example, and then I put counter plus plus.
Oh, you here given the example. Because you have A, B, C, D. Your while is actually not a counter. You don't need a counter for this while. Because your condition for exit is Q. So you see I forgot to show you. Oh, hold on. My internet is bugging out again. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I forgot to show you is, so far it seemed like it was an infinite loop, right? It just goes on forever. But if we want, let me make this bigger. If we want to quit this,
Wait.
we have to put Q and then it would end it.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. I sent you the code like the one that I fixed. Could you just see it?
Where is it? Okay. Let's have a new file. Something is
It doesn't have the question mark. Oh, yeah.
that's from the copy. I think no. For okay, it seems to be working. What is
I mean, where do I put the counter exactly?
where
like-
do you put the counter? Oh yes, right there is fine. Right here is fine.
No, because it's in the first if. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay, if you're going to use, if you're going to make this program, you don't want to have a fixed counter. Like you don't want the value finite. You want to use an infinite while loop because you want to count how many times someone puts A. So if you make the counter 10, for example, this loop is only going to happen 10 times, and the loop is only going to happen 10 times. So which means maximum you can only count 10 inputs, which you don't want.
Yeah. No, it's not like that. I just wanted to know where can I put the counter. I don't want to, like, for example, the user will use the loop like 10 times, okay?
Okay, yeah, just take this
Yeah.
and put it in the while loop. So the while loop goes from here to here,
okay.
right? So
Yeah,
you put
yeah,
it
okay.
in the while.
Yeah, okay.
All right, there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions with the first one? I think it's pretty standard.
What is the benefit of include conio?
Means console input and output, and you do that so you can use things like it helps you with getting characters and entering inputs and output. For now, you just need to know that you can use that to get this getChe function. There's a lot more in the library, of course, but it usually if you're working with characters at all, like any characters, you always want to put conio in your library header. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. Now, what's the time? Okay. So 5:07. I'm gonna speed up a little bit. The rest are actually very short. What this says is change if selections with if else structure. Replace the whole if selections with the following code. What this basically says is make this. We already did this last class. So this is if. What this would be if else. So else if and else if and else if, and it's basically the same thing. There's no difference whatsoever if you change it with else if. See, like right here, I already did that. That was in the last lab. You can just basically make this else if, and it doesn't make any difference. So yeah, this is basically redundant. What is important though is switch. I know he touched switch. I'm gonna just explain it to you once more. Switch is like a better version of if you will. If you have just a small amount, maybe if it's A or if it's B, then you can use an if. But if you have multiple things that you want to check for, so if A, if B, if C, D, E, and there could be much more later. Oh, okay. Using a switch is better than if. All right. So for example, instead of if temp A blah 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 blah, okay. So basically the format for switch is switch whatever character you're working with, okay? Anything you're trying to check for. So right now we're working with temp, right? Just like we were using if before. So you say switch, you open it. All right, that's the integral expression right here. Switch temporary. Temporary. You know what? I think I'm too used to temporary. Switch. All right, and now you're in. So how instead of in switches, what we have is cases, right? So we have case, which means in the case of our value being A, okay, and then you do this, and then you go into whatever you want. Case A, print F A or print F. For example, what do we have here before? I don't remember. Just print F A. Backslash M. So that's gonna do the exact same thing as a switch. It's gonna check if it's if. So this way, if you want to add it more ifs, which is cases in this case, yeah, you just add case B, case C, and you just keep on going, and you can add as many cases as you want. That way, it's much easier to add if statements. So, like for here, in this,
You need break.
this,
You need break.
sorry? Okay, come again, I didn't
You
hear
need to
you.
put break after.
Yeah, there are no breaks in labs. So we're gonna finish really quickly, actually. We're almost done. We just took a lot to, once I'm done explaining switches, that's basically the end. I just need to explain 4 and that's it. But yeah, the sooner we finish the labs, the quicker we can go. Actually.
So I think it means there should be a break inside after writing your switch program.
My God. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Thank you. Yes, in the format, you should have break right after that. My brain is somewhere else, honestly. Okay, so you're gonna have your switch, your case, whatever you want, and don't forget to put break, very important. If not, it's just gonna do every single case. So you need to put break every time you have a case. So you put your case, blah, 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 inside the case, you break, and then you add the next case, right? And so on and so forth. So now for this example, if we wanted to make these cases, what we would do is we would switch the character. Using this instead. Case. The first case. What's the first case? So I need to do it again. All right. So what's the first? See, here we go. Case A and case capital A as well. You have to have 2 cases, and because these, like I said before, these are different. So you have 2 cases for one. You just put them right next to each other, and yeah, no problem. So you do case A, and you just add the number, and then you break case B, C, D, E, and at the end, it's just print everything again, the same thing as the first program. Now, the one difference between this program and that is the first one we use a 10, the second we use a 4. Now, probably super angry, but for loops are just easy, okay, very easy. As if you know how long your loop should go for, you instantly want to use the for loop. Are a bit better, yes. But in the case, for example, in the second experiment, what they want us to do is count. They want us, the user, to enter 10 letters. Okay, so not just infinite amount. They want to count 10 letters and see how many A's, B's, C's, whatever they entered. Okay. So the basic format, I'm just going to delete all of that. For it's the same thing. It's all English actually at some point. You just say for, let's say C is equal to 0, and then semicolon, and then C. So you initialize it here. Okay, so for C is equal to 0, C less than, let's start with 1. All right, so for C equal to 1, starts at 1. C is a counter, by the way. C less than or equal to 10. And then you just say C++ to keep increasing it. Just like that, you do all the initialization just in the header. Counter, and You gotta make sure everything is the same. Counter plus plus. Okay. And then you open your bracket, and now you do whatever you want in this loop. So what's gonna happen is, oh no. In this loop, okay, so say we have integer counter. I need to initialize it. Okay, so what's gonna happen is your counter is gonna start from 1, and then it's increasing it every time it finishes what's in the loop. So if I just do printf, is my internet still coming? It keeps showing me here for some reason. I think it's because of the weather. Am I lagging?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I think it's because of the weather. It's really rainy and there's a lot of storms and lightning here. So I'm not sure, but I think that's what's affecting my internet connection. Honestly, don't know what to do about that. But anyway, what's going to happen? It's going to start at 1. It's going to do this. Then it's going to go back and increase the counter. So this is going to become 2. It's going to check if it's less than or equal to 10. It's not, it's going to do it again. And basically what's going to happen is it's going to print, don't forget, you know what, let's make this 5. I don't want to count 10. All right. So it's going to print, it's going to do that 5 times. All right. And there's one thing that you guys should know. A student asked me in the previous lecture, it was a good question. Sometimes you see them, they initialize it to 0. They say for counter is equal to 0, blah, blah, and then counter plus plus. It's actually the same. It doesn't matter which one. 0 counter is equal to 1. But here's a tip. If you started from 0, always make sure it's less than 5. Okay? That way, if you do that, then it's going to print 5 times. 3, 5, and there you go. But if you start it at 1, then you got to make it less than or equal to whatever number you're trying to make it loop how many times. You know? So, same thing. So you can depends on you. All right, so in this program, it wants us to initialize it 10 times, and then the rest is just the same, right? Enter a character, it's gonna use get change, and then switch that character for A if it's B, and it's gonna increase the number, and it's just gonna print it at the end. It's just an adaptation of this first example. That's why I told you guys it's really short. See, the second one is almost just the same thing as the first one. All they did was just use a for loop instead of a while loop, and now I kind of went fast on the for loops. My bad. Does anyone have any questions, especially with the fors? Does everyone understand? Oh, my internet is so bad. Anyone? Hello?
I think
There's
connection.
It's really laggy, isn't it? Oh boy, how bad is it? Oh, and okay, the recording is going on. Hopefully the recording is not. I'm not sure about that though.
For example, your sound like disappeared right now.
It's what?
It disappeared. It just like jammed too hard.
So it keeps going on and off. That's what's happening.
Yeah, and then like your sentences get jammed, like they get crushed with each other.
I really don't know what to do.
And it only lags when you're explaining the code.
Oh wow! Okay, all right, perfect timing. Of course it does. Anyway, but seriously though, does anyone understand? Does anyone have any questions with the for loop, or should I repeat that again? Because if I was so laggy, I didn't really notice. Should I repeat the for again, or did everyone get it? Does anyone have any questions? Oh,
No, sir.
no. Okay, good. Because for loop is actually the most convenient loop. You know, you use all the time. You're gonna keep using this till the end of the semester. It's just the best. You have all the initializations in one line right here, and you can just go ahead and loop as many times as you want. So that way, if you make any mistakes with a loop, you can just come back and. We finished quite quickly, actually. And if anyone doesn't have any questions, I'll actually explain the homework a bit to you guys, kind of like an
Excuse me,
apology.
sir.
Yes.
Will you take the attendance?
No. Okay, thank you for reminding me. Actually, I spoke to the lecturer about the attendance, and he said that I should not take attendance for the lab, but if a student misses the lab without a valid excuse, for example, I'm not allowed to accept their homeworks. Okay, so it's very important to attend the lab. Like, if you miss it, you somehow lose
Okay,
points.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. So
When is our next homework?
I'm gonna give you your homework right now. Like after this is your homework. Right? I'm going to assign to you.
Sir, you're lagging.
I'm going to assign your homework to you after, like right after the class right now. But this is your homework.
Okay, when is the due date?
5 days. 5 days from now, which is what's that? Monday? I think Monday. Yes, it's gonna be Monday.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's quite laggy. I wanted to. Should I go ahead and explain the homework a little bit, or do you guys?
Yes, please.
Sir, what should we do now? Homework. What should we do exactly?
I'm gonna give you an explanation now. So the homework is very similar to what we've done in class as usual, and it just you're going to enter the number of courses taken. Okay, so you're gonna have them enter the number of courses, and you're going to use that number, okay, as a loop because the program should print grade for each. So what you would do, this is already too much information, but what you do is you say, blah, blah, enter number of courses, okay? And then courses in, sorry. You save those number of courses. No, you say or count equal, and you say counter less than equal to number of courses. So what's going to happen is the loop is going to happen as many times as how many courses. So that's, all right. So that's how you make the loop go. For example, if they enter 7 courses, it's going to loop 7 times, and each time you ask them enter the course grade, for example. This is just a draft, by the way. Enter the course grade. And now what the program wants you to do is, no, not the course grade, actually. Enter the mark, like how much they got. So they enter the mark kind of like in the first homework. And this time you have to do the same thing, the exact same marking scheme as the first homework. So you can use ifs, or you can use switches. Personally, I would prefer if you use switch because it's much cleaner. You just explain it. So you can use a switch and just assign, just case. You have switch mark, right? So case 80, for example. Mark is equal to 80. I think you can do it like that. Yeah. So you say case 80, and then you say number of A or something. Grade equals A, right? So you say the grade is A, and yeah, that's about it. At that point, it's just case B, case C, case D, F, and all that. And at the end, the program will print each letter grade. Okay, so it's gonna print. So for A, you got 2 A's, 2 A's, 4 B's, and 1 F, or 3 A's, 5 B's, and like that. So at the end, you're just gonna say print F percent D A, all right, and then you're gonna say print F percent D B, and of course the percent D is gonna be number of A's. for example. All right, this is already too much information. I'm basically doing the homework, but at least there's a bonus. Okay, so this is another thing I need to let you know. There's a bonus at the end. If you do this, obviously you get a for homework. So all this does is print the average at the end of the homework. I'm not going to explain anything about this to you because it's a bonus. You don't have to. But if you want to, you can always try that out. I hope I explained that enough. Are there any questions? Of course, I'm not going to go into too much detail, so you kind of have to try that so you can learn. But yeah, any questions on the homework? I was lagging so much, wasn't I?
It was
After every.
Yes, Blessing.
Sorry, Zakaria. I meant after every lab, we should expect your homework, right?
Yes, there will be an assignment after every lab. Another thing that I need to let you guys know, which I don't know, I made it very clear, but some people still forgot. Don't send your files to me in the chat. I'm going to pull the assignment, okay? And I'm going to add all of you guys in. What you do is you click on the assignment and you upload your source file. Let me show you. Okay, you go to wherever dev C++ is in your laptop. Okay, right here. You have dev C++, and I want you to send me this file right here, C++ source file. And definitely have your student number, never mind, your student number and your name there, and what homework it is, of course. So send me the source files, and yeah, on the assignments. Any further questions?
Will we get our when the assignment returned?
Yes.
Because my last assignment was not returned. I don't know.
Okay. Don't worry. I will return them over time. I save the grading and I'll post that when I'm completely done grading all of your assignments. So don't worry about that. But what you do need to notice is sometimes if you do this and I get a chance to see it, if there's any problems with it, I will give you feedback on it. Okay, so I'll reply to the feedback and I'll tell you there's a problem with int main or you have to change this and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna cut any points for that. So make sure after you post the assignment, you're always checking it to see if I sent any comments. But after the deadline, of course, I might still give you comments, but you're obviously going to lose points for that. So try and submit as early as possible. That way, if you have any problems with your code, you. So is that okay with everyone? Any further questions?
Teacher, when I compile the program, I find two files, exe and source file. When I open the exe file, it just file everything and close. It doesn't ask me at the end, please anything to continue. So I cannot see the final result.
The file you need to keep using, that's what opens your compiler. When your compiler compiles your program, it forms this application file, the .exe file. This is you open this and then you run it from the compiler. Okay, you wanna open your C++ file. Oh, anyway, you wanna run the C++ file application. Also send that to me as homework as well. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right.
So, how are we
Yes.
supposed to use the switch in this case? Because the marks are supposed to be in a range, right, for the grade?
How are we supposed to what? Can you come again?
How are we supposed to use the switch in this case?
How
Because,
are
like,
you supposed to use switch?
The marks are in a range, right?
I just explained it to you. I don't want to go into too much detail, but basically what you say is you do it exactly the first time. You can do it with one interval at a time. So you can, with the first homework, it was if mark grade equal to 80, if I remember correctly, all right, greater than or equal to 80, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now what you could do with switches, and then you have more ifs, of course, for marks greater than 70, greater than 60, and so on. So what you want to do for switch is switch mark, right? And then you just come down here and you say case 80. Case 80. I'm not sure. There might be a bracket here or something. I'm not too sure if it's an integer or not. So you just say case 80 basically. Let's say print f mark. Okay, so if we just do this, just a simple program actually. Switch mark case 80, do that. Wait, I should have opened the braces here.
Yeah, but this will just
Understand,
work.
right?
The mark is 80, right? So like, what if the mark is 85 or 90 or something? It won't work for this one, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what was confusing me actually. Case, can you do case greater than or equal to 80?
Yeah.
I think but let's test it out, shall we? Control X. Oh no, that's a mistake. So I wanted to do this. So printf into the mark. Don't ever forget backslash n. Right. Okay. Switch mark case greater than equal. Oh, we need something to save the marking, of course. So scanf. You can use scanf here because it's just a number, and you have person D and address. Don't forget the address of mark. Saying that to myself, by the way. Of course, we need to define mark. I think this should be fine, but I'm not sure. Let's see. If there's any errors? Let's see. Okay. Oh, can I move this?
Can I add in my 2 cents?
I need to what? Sorry.
Can I try and help?
Yeah, you want to try at home? Is that what you said?
Yes. Can I help?
It's so laggy. It's kind of hard to hear you guys as well. I honestly didn't catch what you just said. Can you repeat? I mean, you can always use.
I was saying,
Yes.
I was saying, can I help with this?
Yeah. Yes. Please do.
What about if you say switch, right? Then you say mark divided by 10 inside the switch. You say mark divided by 10. Then our cases we say case 8, case 7, case 9.
Yes.
Just say case 8. You think
You were right. Case 9.
Oh. Wow. That is pretty high IQ. Oh.
You will need 10 cases.
Yeah. But I think there's a way to have it less than or equal to. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I did this, so I only know it for characters. You know, if it's a character, you just do it like this, and it's fine. But I think there's a way to define case. I'm not sure. Maybe you open a bracket, and but I'll get back to you in the next class. For now, you can do it like this. This is pretty smart, or you can just use ifs as well. No problem. Is that okay?
Sir, do we need
right,
coefficients?
Yes.
Do we need coefficients for the 5th question?
Do you need to what?
Coefficient.
Coefficient?
Yes.
For
the courses.
To be honest. What do you mean?
if I need the average, maybe I need coefficients for the courses, for example.
If you want to find the average, okay, I'm not going to go into detail about this, but it's the average of all marks entered. Yes, I think you're gonna need something else. You're gonna need to add something else to save the total of everything and divide by the number of courses, but that's all I'm gonna say. All right, too much info. Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, one last thing.
Yes.
I don't use DFC, I use Xcode, right? And I tried to use the header you told us to you can use for like using Getcha. Hashtag include conio.h. .h. It's saying with my program with Xcode, it's saying conio.h file not found.
Okay, now I honestly am not sure what to do in your case. What's the name of your compiler?
It's Xcode, sir.
Send it to me in the private message, and I'll see if I can help you out with that. But that's private after the class, you know. All right, so we
All right, thank you, sir.
No problem, no problem. Anyone else have any questions? If not, we can go.
Sir, should we submit the assignment like the first lab, or send it by the email?
No, submit it like the first lab in the assignment that I'm going to post.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, is that okay for everyone? I'm gonna stop recording now.